Powdery mildew doesn't ask questions. It just waltzes in and makes itself comfortable in your garden. Every year, and uninvited, at that. It's one of those guests you don't want in your garden. Grey mold and potato blight linger right behind it. And not to mention the gang of aphids and organized crime, which work undercover with ants. Have you ever observed plant diseases like potato blight and powdery mildew on plant leaves? Most gardeners have wondered how to combat this daunting task. These fungal infections wreak havoc on crops, leaving gardeners disappointed and frustrated. But I have a simple milk and baking soda remedy for you. Everything you need can be found in your kitchen: milk, baking soda, water, and oil. These common kitchen products can work wonders for your thriving garden and vegetable patches. Combining both products creates a powerful fungicide against mold, powdery mildew, and pathogenic fungi on vegetables, as well as an insecticide against aphids and ants. They can be used together because they don't affect each other's effects on vegetables. The spray can be used preventatively, or when diseases and pests do appear, it combats them and certainly delays the destructive process. For those who are impatient, I've included the spraying recipe at the very beginning. But I think it's worth delving deeper into the topic to see what it's all about. For 1 liter of water, we use 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1 liter of 3.2% fresh milk, and half a teaspoon of vegetable oil. This will increase the adhesion of the product to the plant and prevent pests from breathing. Apply it every 7 days. Milk consists of proteins and enzymes. These two substances can inhibit the growth of fungi and reduce their harmful effects on plants. Milk creates a favorable environment after spraying plants. So next time, don't underestimate the power of regular milk. Baking soda, it is a natural resource that inhibits fungal growth and also provides plants with nutrients. Potato blight is a fungal disease that thrives in warm, humid conditions. It is indicated by brown spots on leaves or a powdery coating under the leaves, which can also cause fruit rot. Another fungal disease is powdery mildew, which affects a wide range of plants, including vegetables, fruit trees, and even ornamentals. It appears as a white powdery substance on fruit, stems, and leaves. It can reduce yields, weaken plants, and impact crop yields. Baking soda, also known as sodium bicarbonate, changes the pH of the foliage and prevents the spread of fungi. To alleviate disease symptoms, regularly spray your plants. This solution will keep your garden healthy and vibrant. Baking soda is an eco-friendly product, sodium bicarbonate, an inorganic chemical compound also found in nature. Baking soda is completely non-toxic to mammals, readily available in any grocery store, and inexpensive. But how exactly does so much goodness come from baking soda? Baking soda prevents the growth of fungal spores. It's most effective on fruits and vegetables from vines or stems, but regular application in spring can minimize fungal diseases on other vegetables and fruits as well. As a fungicide, sodium bicarbonate works by disrupting the ionic balance in fungal cells, causing them to collapse. However, it's important to remember that baking soda is slightly corrosive and has an acid-neutralizing effect, meaning it can change soil pH and burn leaves if used in excessive amounts. However, no evidence of serious sodium bicarbonate accumulations has been found, and the Federal Environmental Protection Agency has deemed it safe for edible plants. We mainly use baking soda to control aphids, but also mites such as spider mites, eriophid mites, and whiteflies. We can also control diseases such as downy mildew, black leaf spot, and rust. But I don't expect you to take my word for it that it works. So, let's delve into scientific research on the use of baking soda in gardening. And yes, using baking soda as a fungicide is not a new idea. Alfred C. Hotz's book A Little Book of Climbing Plants, published in 1933, mentions using 1 ounce of baking soda per gallon of water to control powdery mildew on climbing roses. The author attributes this idea to the Russian phytopathologist Yachensky. In the August 1985 issue of Organic Gardening, a short article by Warren Schultz titled Recipe for Resistance reports that researchers in Japan have achieved effective PM control on cucumbers, eggplants, and strawberries. An article in the June 1990 issue of Greenhouse Manager summarizes the results of 3 years of testing baking soda as a fungicide for roses. Dr. R. Kenneth Horst, a researcher at Cornell University, observed inhibition of powdery mildew and black spot, 2 major problems for New York rose growers. Roses were sprayed every 3 to 4 days with an aqueous solution of baking soda and insecticidal soap. The latter was included because of its surface-active properties. Surfactants are chemicals that alter the surface properties of liquids. The soap improved the effectiveness of the bicarbonate, making it stick to the leaf surface and spread evenly. Further experiments showed that the insecticidal soap itself was not responsible for disease inhibition. While no specific concentration of baking soda was identified as most effective in suppressing PM, the paper states that a 0.5% solution was most effective in preventing black spot. Some of the work at Cornell focused on controlling fungal diseases in cucurbits. A single spray of 0.5% baking soda plus 0.5% sunspray UFP-5 horticultural oil almost completely inhibited PM on heavily infected pumpkin leaves. Baking soda without spray oil was ineffective, and a 2% baking soda solution damaged leaves. Baking soda oil sprays also provided good control of Eurocladium leaf spot in cucumbers, Alternaria leaf blight in melon, and gummy stem blight in melon. Other diseases against which baking soda may be effective include anthracnose in cucurbits. There is also considerable interest in the use of baking soda and potassium bicarbonate to control powdery mildew and other fungal plant diseases. This publication provides a brief overview of observations, research, and recommendations regarding the use of bicarbonates in horticulture. On-farm observations on melons in Virginia led to one farm switching from synthetic fungicides to baking soda oil sprays. These growers incorporated liquid fertilizer into the mix. A study in Germany evaluated baking soda as a powdery mildew control on Bacchus grapes. 3 sprays were made, starting at the first symptom appearance. Good control was achieved without any loss of grape quality. The optimal concentration was a 1% solution. An article in the February 1996 issue of Grower Talks magazine continues the ongoing research at Cornell. Tests with various bicarbonates showed that selecting the appropriate bicarbonate for a specific disease is important. Dr. Horst's research team found that ammonium bicarbonate had the strongest effect on some diseases, while potassium and sodium bicarbonates worked best against others. Potassium bicarbonate provided the best powdery mildew control. Sodium bicarbonate is okay, but not as good, Horst says. And ammonium bicarbonate has no effect on powdery mildew. He emphasizes that while conventional powdery mildew control chemicals are only preventative measures, bicarbonates can eliminate the disease once it has set in on some crops. He mentions roses and unspecified ornamentals, provided the infection is not severe. The only plant damage associated with bicarbonate use in trials was leaf scorching when applied rates exceeded recommended concentrations. Tests showed that sodium bicarbonate does not increase sodium levels in plant tissues, soil, or runoff water. While its exact mode of action against fungi is unknown, Horst states that bicarbonates appear to damage the cell membrane in powdery mildew spores. He also believes that pH is a factor in bicarbonate effectiveness. In any case, bicarbonates are contact fungicides and kill PM within minutes. The Federal Environmental Protection Agency has ruled, as of December 1996, that sodium and potassium bicarbonates are exempt from the residual tolerance. This action served to facilitate the development and introduction of commercial bicarbonate products for horticultural applications. It also reinforced the belief that these materials are largely harmless from a food safety perspective. The Environmental Protection Agency and the California Department of Environmental Protection granted registration to Monterey Chemical Co. for a product called Caligreen. Fungicide various carbonates and bicarbonates have proven effective against gray mold, the most common post-harvest disease of grapes. The researchers found that carbonates were more effective than bicarbonates in reducing the germination of gray mold spores, Botrytis cinerea, and sodium and ammonium bicarbonates were better than potassium bicarbonate. Now, let's move on to the second ingredient. As mentioned earlier, milk contains proteins and enzymes that can inhibit the growth of fungi and reduce their harmful effects on plants. This solution can create a favorable environment for your garden. After spraying, beneficial microorganisms begin to develop, reducing fungal infections and ultimately boosting plant immunity. Milk protects against fungal and viral infections, including potato blight, but also powdery mildew. Milk can even be used as a pesticide. It is particularly effective against aphids and similar soft-bodied insects, such as spider mites and thrips. The milk layer on leaves and shoots creates a protective barrier against pathogens. The proteins in milk, which have an antiseptic effect when exposed to sunlight, destroy fungal spores on leaves in the early stages of disease development. Therefore, in the case of milk, it doesn't cure the infected plant, but prevents disease. If the disease has attacked, it is best to remove infected leaves and apply treatment. Recent work from the United States indicates that spraying with milk is as effective as chemical sprays in pumpkin and cucumber cultivation. And here I am again rushing to provide evidence. Previous studies have shown that foliar application of cow's milk and water mixtures is effective in preventing powdery mildew on zucchini plants grown in greenhouses. Frank J. Ferrandino and Victoria L. Smith conducted preliminary studies on field-grown pumpkins, which showed that the effectiveness of such foliar sprays is highly variable. This study is an attempt to measure the effect of milk-based sprays on powdery mildew symptoms on leaves and yield components of field-grown pumpkins under a wide range of environmental conditions. Pumpkins were grown for 5 seasons at Lockwood Farm in Hamden, Connecticut. The experimental design consisted of 5 spray applications arranged in 5 by 5 Latin squares. Spray applications included conventional chemical control, no spray, 1% baking soda, and 2 milk-based sprays. Powdery mildew severity and plant growth were assessed during each season, and yield before and after storage was assessed each year. Milk-based treatments were, on average, 50% to 70% as effective in reducing leaf and fruit rot symptoms after harvest and 40% to 50% as effective in increasing marketable yield as the chemical control. Ultimately, the experiment showed half the effectiveness in delaying powdery mildew outbreaks, reducing marketable pumpkin yield losses, and limiting post-harvest fruit rot. However, this strategy may provide increased disease protection while simultaneously reducing environmental chemical burden. Surprising, right? Powdery mildew of cucurbits, caused by Podosfera xanthe, is a serious problem for pumpkins and squash wherever these crops are grown. P. xanthe colonizes leaf, stem, and fruit tissues and can reduce yield by more than 50%. Currently, powdery mildew is controlled by repeated foliar applications of a combination of protectants and systemic fungicides. Chemical control can have detrimental environmental impacts and often results in local selection of pathogen strains tolerant to the applied systemic fungicide. Therefore, fungicide use must be carefully managed to maintain effectiveness. Therefore, an environmentally friendly alternative to P. xanthe control would be very useful. Foliar sprays with aqueous solutions of fresh cow's milk have been shown to be very effective in controlling Podosfera xanthe on zucchini in the greenhouse. Weekly foliar sprays using an aqueous solution containing 40% milk by volume have been observed to reduce disease severity by 85% to 90%. Milk-based foliar sprays have also been shown to be effective in controlling powdery mildew on grapes in the vineyard and powdery mildew on wheat in the greenhouse. Preliminary reports indicate that milk-based foliar sprays are also effective in reducing symptoms of naturally occurring powdery mildew outbreaks on squash, melon, and tomatoes in the field. Enough research. Let's get to work. Spray the plant completely, both on the top and bottom of the leaves, as this is where aphids and diseases and pathogens usually initially gather. Then, allow the plant to dry. Rain washes the product away, and the application should be repeated. But this is the case with organic products. They usually work on the surface, not deep, like chemical products. It's important to never apply the homemade mixture to the plant on a hot or very sunny day, as this will quickly burn the plant. It's safe to apply it to a single plant or even a leaf first to test the effect. The product is safe for beneficial insects. Additional benefits beyond disease control. This so-called solution plus fertilizer not only combats plant diseases but also helps with important plant ailments. Both ingredients are rich in protein, sodium, calcium, and potassium. These nutrients are an excellent supplement supporting plant growth and nutrition. After washing off the plant, everything will be returned to the soil. It's a safe and effective alternative. Next time you notice fungal infections or mold creeping up on your plants, don't forget to use milk and baking soda instead of fertilizers made with harsh chemicals. They're not only effective, but also safe and environmentally friendly, good for pest control. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to like the video and ask questions in the comments section. I wish you lush seedlings and, of course, a bumper harvest. Stay tuned for more gardening tips and tricks in upcoming videos. But that's not all. Could this magic remedy have any drawbacks? The downside is definitely its limited effectiveness. According to research, baking soda isn't a guaranteed cure for fungal infections. It may require frequent applications to kill the disease. Commercial fungicides don't require multiple applications. Be careful when using this product, as excessive use of baking soda can significantly raise the soil pH, making it harder for plants to absorb essential nutrients. Salt buildup. Baking soda is salt, and excess salt in the soil can cause plant roots to thirst and hinder plant growth. Generally speaking, baking soda is a temporary and gentle way to deal with fungal infections in plants, but it also has some limitations. Here's a better approach. First, identify the disease problem and then choose the appropriate treatments. Consider safer options. You can find many other organic fungicides that also come from natural ingredients, such as neem oil or sulfur, which may be more reliable depending on your plant's problems. Focus on soil health. Ensure your garden's soil is healthy, as healthy soil with a balanced microbial community is less susceptible to fungal infections. If you find that your soil is unhealthy, add compost and use organic matter and microorganisms like microflora to correct it. So, get to it, good luck, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.